it or not. Simanim 328, 329, and 330. So I want to go through all the laws of Chayla b'Shabbos on one night. You might ask why the urgency to do that, because after all, we have one more night to review besides the test night, which is Monday night, and it's next week. Not yet confirmed, but hopefully. So the answer is that I wanted to do one night just of general review, shooting questions at you all in the style of Rav Wosner as best as I can. So with that in mind, let us begin. So I made a little review sheet, and I'm going to try to go through it quickly, and don't hesitate to ask, because I definitely do not include everything in it. Okay, so everybody knows that there are different levels of cholim, the highest level of which is a choyle sheyesh bo sakana. And a choyle sheyesh bo sakana, we do whatever needs to be done on Shabbos in order to save their life. And we learn this from different psukim. First of all, it says v'chai bohem, means you should live with the Torah and mitzvahs. Lo sheyamas b'hem, you shouldn't die because of them. There's only 3 exceptions to that rule. Shabbos is not one of them. And therefore, we do that. In addition, it says, Ushmarta Mesa Shabbos. And we learn from the Pasuk that you should guard one Shabbos and keep many Shabbos. So better to desecrate Shabbos to be able to keep many Shabbos. So that's another concept, or another source, I should say. We learn from the Pasuk, V'chai bohem, v'loi sheyaveh bohem lidei safek misa. V'chai bohem means you should definitely live as a result of the mitzvahs. You should not even put yourself in a possible you shouldn't even put yourself in a possible situation of death for the sake of a mitzvah. Rather, a person should rather transgress than die. That being said,
a sidewalk, it was one hole not straight, and I was not paying attention.
Did you get to the bridge?
Yes, I was on a bridge.
You had a couple of drinks? They went away?
No, not drink. By driving, but Baruch Hashem, not a Haronim tonight. Just breathe.
All right, remember, you need one?
Sorry?
You
What's that? Oh, I didn't know about this when I sent you. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. Whoever you invited, you invited. You don't have to invite anybody else. I forgot. Somebody told me about it last week, but I forgot about it. So, the story goes.
What's the party for the cake?
A wedding.
May I put this one over there?
Can you? Sure.
It's for the wedding?
I think so. It was on the table when I came in, so that seems to be connected to the wedding. Sure. So, I do want to mention, I never mentioned this till now, and it's not really practical. It's just something interesting to know about. That is that there were exceptions. There were big people who were moser nefesh, and they put their lives in danger to keep other mitzvahs other than those 3. Famous story with Chavetz Chaim when he was escaping World War I, trying to escape the front lines. The battle was coming to his part of Poland. He ran away into Russia. He was on the train. Shabbos was coming. And being on the train on Shabbos is not even such a, it's no d'oraisa to be on the train. Okay, you're going outside of the tchum. Or it's mamash sakana tefach, it's the whole situation there. And he told all his people that he was with in the train that everybody should stay on the train, sakanas nefashos, and there's nowhere to get off. It's in the middle of nowhere. You have to stay on the train. Da 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 da. And this was like a few minutes before Shabbos. And then when they turned around to look for the Chavetz Chaim, he was nowhere to be seen. Because after he told everybody else to stay on the train, he quietly went off the train. And when they realized that he went off the train, they all went off the train. They mamish had to spend Shabbos in the middle of nowhere. The nearby town found out about it, and they sent people to take care of them. Whatever, a whole story. The Kitzur Amaisa, he did something Lifnim Meshur Sadin, which is a question, because how do you put your life in danger? Lifnim Meshur Sadin. But we do find that there were opinions that allowed it. There's no chiyuv. Because he wanted to be Moisei Nefesh for Shmir Shabbos. He was not wanted. He was willing to be Moisei Nefesh for Shmir Shabbos. There are opinions that say it's not the Iker LaHalacha and it's not Lamaisa. There are opinions that say that you're allowed to be Moisei Nefesh for Shabbos. You don't have to, but you're allowed to. We don't follow those opinions in Halacha. We say you're not allowed to. But there were Gedolei Yisrael who did. I'm just saying. So, just something interesting to know.
What would have been the problem with the Shabbos train?
No, it's just outside the Tchum, that's all. Train goes outside the Tchum. It goes between cities. I mean, there's no Sidaraisa.
Staying on a train that will continue to
Staying on a train, going to move is a Tchum issue, that's all. So,
I had a chance to pray. I did not pray.
I did not pray.
Okay.
So he went into a place that was
Yeah.
You prayed?
so only he was.
He didn't tell anybody else to do that. On the contrary, he told everybody else to stay on the train. But he personally was machmer. Even though it's a shayla, how can you be machmer in case of sekanas of Hashas? That's the story. Question? A boat is more lenient than a train because a boat is above 10 from the ground, and it's not a place that people travel easily. So the Iker LaHalacha is that but it goes up and down. I mean, it depends where. Some parts are above, some parts are not. I mean, it doesn't stay up the whole time. Depends where it's traveling. You know what I'm saying?
The actual train. Sometimes they have to floor or something.
No, I don't think that counts. I don't think that counts. I don't think that counts.
Well, the ship is considered a home.
I don't think that counts.
So why is it?
Sorry? The water is not a place you can walk. It's above 10 from the ground, underneath the water.
The ship is considered a home. You're on it for a long time. It's not just, you can't get on there on Shabbos and get off right after. So,
That's for other reasons.
Yeah.
That's for other reasons.
What do you call it? But a train isn't the home, and here's a plane. It's just a very temporary thing. It's like getting on a bus. You bus to your home. Oh.
It is what it is. That's not the Iker. The Iker is that the boat is not on flat earth.
The water is separating from the sand to where.
Correct. Above 10 Tvachim in general is a suffix, if there's Tchumen or not, but on the ocean where it's not a place that you can walk, so the halacha is that there's no Tchumen.
Between both plane and train, it's a small issue.
Yeah.
If a person's technically going to be on a flight the entire Shabbos, according to Tzchum, he wouldn't be over Tzchum.
No. Because above 10, and that sort of above 10, which is not a place that you can even walk, there is no Tchumen. That being said, there is no such thing as a flight that's 25 hours. I mean, if you're on a spaceship, yeah. But if you're on an airplane, there's no such thing as such a flight.
What's the furthest place?
Australia's, I think, 13 hours.
Is it? China's further?
Actually, no, 13 hours from the East Coast, from the West Coast. From the East Coast, I don't know if they have direct flights.
The longest flight that sees is 19 hours.
19 hours.
Correct?
Singapore to New Jersey.
Direct flight?
Yeah.
Oh,
19.
Anyway, but this is all if you are in the air when Shabbos starts and you don't land till Shabbos finishes. If you are on the ground when Shabbos starts, you can't take off when Shabbos starts, because when Shabbos comes in, you're in it. Same with the ship. If you took off before Shabbos, actually, if you go into the ship before Shabbos, it's okay also. If you go into the ship before Shabbos, it's okay also. Okay, let's continue. We're not doing Sif, we're doing Chazar. Chazar on Shin Chav Ches, Chav Tes, and Shin Lam. And I wrote 228 actually. I'm just realizing it should be 3.
The page.
328. Okay, exactly. Okay. Now we are Machal Shabbos even in a case of a doubt. If we're not sure if the person's in danger, or if we're not sure if we're going to be able to help them from danger. The Hatzalah does it all the time. By the time they get there, maybe the person will be better. Maybe they won't be there. Maybe the ambulance will come before them. You know what I'm saying? And different Hatzalah people come from different areas. You don't know. You always do it, even in the case of a doubt.
I also saw, if you know he's not going to make the next Shabbat, you have to help him.
You have to help him, even for a minute, even to keep him alive for 1 extra minute, even if you're not sure if he's Jewish.
What about in the case of going, someone answered that recently, what do we do if it's if a guy is in danger and everybody should be helping?
So, officially it's a question, because you're not allowed. The whole thing of Chalav Shabbos Achas, Shabbos is Harbe, only applies to Jewish people. But practically, because of Eva, it's in Shulchan Aruch, it says you could say, listen, we're only allowed to be Machal Shabbos for people that keep Shabbos. And the Goyim in those days were religious, and they understood that there are some things that are more important than human life. They were makabel. Okay, that's what you say. That's what you say. And there was no Eva. But nowadays, the Goyim don't even appreciate their own religions. They don't appreciate ours. Sorry? They have to answer. Yeah, but even if they know, they have to answer. Nowadays, they say, he brings here that Rav Moshe says that you have to save. Now, whenever you call out Tzala, automatically the ambulance comes also.
Oh, really?
They have an agreement. Pretty sure even here. The difference is that Tzala comes first, because they're local, you know what I'm saying?
I've had a Tzala come on. I've seen a Tzala come on.
No?
Yeah, no. When I was in Hatzalah, we didn't.
Really?
We called them.
Oh, you call them. It's not automatic.
We call them, or they listen in on the radio,
I see.
and they can decide to come on their own.
Oh, I see.
Or
I see. Interesting.
our Hatzalah can call them.
Are there other groups
They
like
have
this?
the right. They listen in on the airways, and they have the right to.
Are there other groups like that in the Deutsche world? Private event systems or private? No. We're the only ones that work with the group vendors.
Out in the country.
So here Moshe says a doctor who was called to save a non-Jew on Shabbos is permitted to do so even if it means transgressing a Torah violation. Because not only will there be hatred if he doesn't, but it could actually lead to Sekanas Uvashas. And the fact that he could explain that he can only be Machal Shabbos for people...
Could also lead to what?
To Sakanas Nefashos. It can lead to Jewish lives being endangered through the hatred that it brings about. And the claim that we are Machal Shabbos only for people who keep Shabbos is not one that will be accepted by the Goyim nowadays. Although he does bring other places that say only B'Melachad Rabbanan. So the Maaseh, if you can, you try to do it B'Darabbanan as much as possible with the Shinui and whatever. Okay, so...
Who say that they like send Malay?
I don't know.
When they
Oh, we don't know.
Relation to the sky.
We don't know. We don't know who they are.
It's not like
We don't know who they are. Okay, so important. There is no mitzvah to kill an individual Amaleki, by the way.
No? Just have them all in one place?
No, it's a war. We're supposed to make a war, and in the context of that war, we kill Amalek and men, women, and children. There's no, 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 doesn't say that. Doesn't say that. I mean, look at Kal Yisrael. Until Shaul HaMelech, we don't find there was ever any like little Amaleki killings here and there. Even though they read Parshas Zachar every year, presumably, they didn't go out and have any little Amaleki killings. When they had a king, they made a war, and they killed whoever they killed. They didn't kill them all. Okay, next. They waited till the next war. David HaMelech made a war, killed whoever he killed. I'm saying that. That's the way I understand the halacha, that it's a mitzvah to make a war and kill out a malach.
Is that the Rambam? It sounds like it was the Rambam.
I think it's Sefer Chinuch. I'm pretty sure. Maybe it's the Rambam too. I mean, the Rambam and Sefer Chinuch are usually very similar. Okay, we learned also not to ask whenever there's a doubt of sakanas nefashos. You just do it. You don't ask, because asking could take time, and by that time it could be over. Chas v'shalom. We discussed that you take advice from professionals if you're not sure if it's a sakana or not. We discussed the fact. Thank you very much.
I don't have that.
Good. We need one more Nadarim.
There's like 90 guys out there.
I hope so.
We discussed the fact that we follow the modern medicine of the day, and
Was there a review sheet for tonight?
yeah, I sent it out. We also discussed that we believe the choila. If the choila says that he needs something, we believe him. We believe doctors, Jewish or not Jewish. We believe medical professionals, Jewish or not Jewish. When it comes to people who are not medical professionals, but they say they know about this illness, so then we believe Jewish people. Because a person who's not a professional and doesn't really know, if he keeps Shabbos, he knows the chaimer of Shabbos, and he says, yes, I know it's dangerous, then it's for real. But a person doesn't really know, and he's not, Shabbos doesn't mean anything. Yeah, he says, yeah, it's dangerous, yeah, for sure. Doesn't mean anything to them. If he's professional, he's not going to make it up. But if he's not, then we're afraid that because we don't believe that he really has the knowledge. He's not a doctor, he's not a nurse.
Saying nowadays with so much information on the internet, you don't have to be a doctor or a nurse to know things, some things are dangerous.
Yeah, but a lot of people know things on the internet.
I don't think people are going to throw away the word, throw out the word, this is dangerous to rush to the hospital. It's not like a very simple thing to say to somebody. Let's say he doesn't know what Shabbos is. Regular guy, someone fell on the street, and he says, I see he has a mark here, means he has internal bleeding, he's rushing to the hospital. All we did was fall on the street. What if the guy knows to do with Shabbos? Because the guy is not gaining anything from telling you that he knows what he's talking about.
I don't know. I hear what you're saying. I mean, it could be that if it's a situation, or not just could be, but pastures of a situation where you yourself are in doubt, and he says, for sure, then for sure. Because
Well,
even,
talking about you yourself for sure.
yeah, here we're talking about you don't have a reason to believe that it is a sakana. Comes along somebody who's not a professional, says, yes, it is. So that's not enough.
Better.
The pastures, but I hear your question. I hear it. I don't know.
What if there's a machlekes rodi favor?
Would you believe?
Yeah, saying we still follow.
Generally, what it says in Hilchos Yom Kippur, and I believe the same thing applies here, although we didn't go into it, is that you follow the majority, unless it's an expert. An expert is believed against even a majority against him.
Let's talk about one-on-one.
One-on-one is a suffix, and you're makel. Yeah.
You have a situation, you have basically three same doctors with the same qualification. A non-Jew, a from Jew, and a non-from Jew. You know. The way I understand, you first call the non-Jew, then you call the from Jew, and then the non-from Jew.
You're talking about not to figure out if he's in danger, but to save him.
It's the same to call. If you have an option to call anyone, and they're the same level.
So according to the Ashkenaz minhag is to try to get a goy instead of a Jew, possible, to desecrate Shabbos. So yeah, better to call a non-Jew.
Let's say you call the non-Jew is not available. You have a from and a non-from Jew.
Well, where did you see that you should call the from before the non-from?
It's going to be more careful.
I think it's much better to call it from the non.
Because he'll be
more
To
careful.
get the what's it called?
the Gedolei Yisrael,
Right,
Chachmei.
he's Shem Shabbos.
It's gonna-
I mean, he's not a goy. There's no difference between calling a yid that's from a yid that's not. So if you're gonna call a yid, you might as well call a yid that will understand the situation.
it's not gonna be
So we'll
more
minimize.
than
Is that what you mean? Minimize. I'll minimize. I hear you. You saw that somewhere? You saw that somewhere? I hear you. Yeah. So if there's a machlekes doctor and patient, who do you listen to? Sometimes. If there's machlekes between the doctor and the patient, who do you listen to?
In what way?
The doctor says he needs a certain treatment.
Oh, it's the
The
opposite.
patient says he doesn't, or vice
No,
versa.
there you listen to the doctor. In a case where he says I need it, and the doctor says you don't need it, we listen to the patient.
So the answer is, in that case, we listen to the patient unless the doctor says that this treatment is going to hurt him, going to damage him. You understand? If the doctor says he doesn't need the treatment, but if he wants to have it, why not? So then we will listen to the patient. Because he, leiv yodeh maras nafshay. The heart knows the bitterness of his soul, so he knows his pain more than anybody else. But if the doctor says, no, he's got it wrong, and not only is it not going to help him, it's going to hurt him, then we listen to the doctor.
Hurt him not in pain, hurt him in.
No, it's going to hurt him. It's going
to make things worse.
make things worse for him. So then we listen, because then we can only listen to one or the other. We can't listen to both. Understand? When they're contradicting each other, then we listen to the doctor.
Meaning, even if the patient says, the person says he needs the surgery, immediately he needs to take it out, he needs to fix whatever. And the doctor says, no, if you do that, it'll be even worse. Then we listen to the
doctor, yeah.
I don't think a patient is going to make a detailed diagnosis to know I'm going to need a surgery.
Right.
But from what I understand,
a diagnosis, we don't even
Right,
listen to him even in the first
That's what I'm
place.
saying.
What does he know about
What
a
I've learned
diagnosis?
is, when I've been reviewing, it's basically the concept of, you know what? If somebody's going to be in that much pain, you believe him.
What if the patient himself is a doctor?
So you don't believe
That may even be worse.
He's fighting with himself.
Fighting with the other doctor.
No, if the doctor disagrees with him. But I'm saying he's pointing out that in general, the
In general,
idea
you
of
believe
believing
the
the patient is not about a diagnosis. It's about the fact that he feels the pain to the extent that he has to be treated. That's the point. But if the patient is a doctor, we can take his opinion. We can take his opinion. It's not less than another doctor.
Unless that's not his specialty, and the doctor that's there.
That's true. That's true. Then we listen to the one with the specialty. Okay, so we discussed what's a sakana, internal wound. Wound is wound, not pain. Pain does not mean a wound, we said. A deep cut. The example we had in Shulchan Aruch is the back of the hand, but basically a cut that affects a major blood vessel. We said a cut with metal that can get infected.
I have a question.
Yes.
Okay, back on 328.3, it says, according to authorities who maintain a malacha she'enet tzarika legufa, a forbidden labor for which a person performs for a purpose that does not involve the object with which the forbidden labor was performed. What is that? What's an example of that? A malacha she'enet tzarika legufa. I mind blanked out on that.
A malacha she'ein tzarich legufa is if you dig a ditch and you don't need the ditch, you just need the earth. So when in that halacha, he's talking about taking a tooth out. You don't need the tooth unless you're planning to give it to the tooth fairy. Other than that, you don't need the tooth. So teeth removal is a malacha shen tzarich l'gufa.
Oh, because you don't need the tooth, so it's okay.
So it's derabanan. It's not okay, but it's derabanan, and therefore there's room to be lenient for a person whose entire body is weakened, or no, even if the entire body is weakened from the pain, then even if it's a deraisa, a non-Jew can do it. But if his entire body is not weakened from the pain and it's derabanan, then you can be lenient and have a guy do it anyway.
Okay.
All right. Heart attack, stroke, eye fever, intense internal pain, open break, sensitive heat stroke, cat bite, eye infection. Eye infection, right? The Gemara says at first they didn't realize it was dangerous, and then they realized when a woman died from it. Okay. We just mentioned before the machlokes Machaber Ramah, but let's go it over again. The Machaber holds that we do not ask Goyim to be Machal Shabbos to save somebody. We specifically do it with Jewish people. Because if you ask a Goy, you're giving the impression that there's something wrong with doing it. And next time, if there is no Goy around, the person might hesitate and not do it himself, and therefore put the patient in danger. So not only that, we specifically ask for adult Jewish men. We don't want the kids to do it. Again, because you'll think that it's not really okay. And you don't want the women to do it because maybe the women will hesitate. Maybe something wrong with this. Maybe I can't really do it. Jewish men who know that it's allowed, they should be the one doing it. Huh? What is it? איזה רבע? לא מכיר אותו. זה לא יודע מי זה. Okay.
What was number 5 again for a small amount of time? What was that?
Oh, I just mentioned it in passing, but Machal Shabbos, even to save somebody, to extend their life for a small amount of time.
Even not to extend life, even to lessen pain.
No, pain is something.
It's not to lessen pain.
Lessen the pain?
Yeah, because it's called Torah and Shabbat Kuya, or
oh, yeah, that's another thing, but we didn't get to that yet. That's another thing. I'll get to that in a minute. Yeah, but that's the idea, that we Machal Shabbos, even just to keep them alive for a very short amount of time longer. Okay, so the Machaber the Ramah on the other hand brings the opinion that says that it's better to be Machal through the Goyim. This has to do with the concept of Hutra or Bechuya. Is desecrating the Shabbat to save a life considered like it's a desecration, but it's overridden? Or is it completely permissible? It's completely permissible. There's certainly no point in asking a Goy, just like you don't ask a Goy to do work for you on Sunday. If it's the Chuya, then there's room to, yeah? No. If it's Hutra, then why should you ask a Goy to do it? It's Hutra. It's like
what are the translations of these words? Hutra and Dechuya?
Hutra means permitted, and Dechuya means overridden.
Overridden.
Overridden, exactly.
What's the difference?
Exactly. Well, the Chuya means it's overridden, means that it's considered like it's a desecration of Shabbos. Hashem says, you know what? To save a life, you can desecrate Shabbos.
Okay.
So therefore, we say, listen, if you can get away without desecrating it, it's better. Hutra means that when there's a life at stake, it's as if it's not Shabbos. There's no Shabbos here. So that's what it is. So it's a machlokes. Hutra or Dechuya? Hutra is permitted. And that's the basis of this machlokes. Now, this also relates to number 11, which is as follows. Number 11 is about doing other things that are not essential. This is what Rafal was discussing. If a person is in a general life-threatening situation, and you're allowed to do things to save him, You're allowed to get him essential medicine. Are you also allowed to do things to make him comfortable? When those things are not going to save his life or shorten his life, one way or the other. So again, if you say hutra, so for this patient there is no Shabbos. You do whatever he needs. He wants a little bit more light. He wants a little bit more heat, a little bit more cool, whatever it is. I mean, obviously you can't get him the paper because that's not anything relating to his illness. It has to be related to his illness. But if it's related to his illness, we're not particular about whether it's going to make it or break it for him. Whereas if you say the chuya, then it's not so simple. Then you should desecrate for the things that are major things that he needs, the medication, the blood test, I mean, whatever he needs for his actual treatment, but not minor things that are not going to make a difference.
So the dukhya, it's meaning if when it's Shabbat there's an emergency and he's needed, so there's no question. You don't ask anybody to take him to the.
Either way, you don't ask anybody. Either way, you do it. The question is, do you try to do it with a guy? You try to do it with a shinui, understand? Or do you just do it? That's the question. You definitely
Is this 328.20 for this particular one?
20. Oh,
328.20.
What it's based on? No,
Yeah.
I think it was more like 5 or something. Let me just look it up. No, definitely not 5. The Gimel in general, but about this question, about doing something that he doesn't mamish need. I don't see that in the Gimel.
Is it maybe in the Mechaber?
It is.
I don't have that open here, but let's see.
Oh yeah, culture balance level. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it must be earlier in Alter also. It's Dalit. Dalit in the Machaber also. Dalit in the Alter also. Excuse me. Yeah, you see it there?
Let me check here.
It's 4 in the Alter Rebbe. Okay, the Alter Rebbe says the Ikar Halacha is that that you could be Mechalal with whatever he needs. Bal Nefesh should be Machmer on himself. That means he, for himself, he should be Machmer.
Back on number 2 with the basis 2a Ushmartem es HaShabbos. Is there a pasuk which has that, or is that just a concept?
No, it's a pasuk.
But is that brought in the Alter Rebbe?
No.
I just saw the. Okay.
Let's go to the Gemara. Yesh lismech al tzor shayim. Come on, no shayach lasmech. So Meikar Adin, you could do it, called over whatever he needs, but a Bal Nefesh won't, basically.
So from the original thing you said, I was understanding is that you
What's an example of the Baal Nefesh? What would he not do again?
a Baal Nefesh will make Shabbat Duchuya?
No, it's a machlekes. This matter about called over shetzarech. Meikar Adin is okra, but there are
If you're a Baal Nefesh, so you'll make sure.
You'll be
going
choishish.
to ask you.
You'll be choishish for the opinions that say that it's only the chuya, and therefore the things that he doesn't actually need, it's not the chuya for, and therefore the things
That's
that
like being machmir on someone else's account. You don't understand.
it is, but it's not on account of his life. It's not. The whole thing is, it's not going to affect him really. He's not going to be as comfortable.
Such an interesting one.
Yeah.
I see here that you let it b'toch shlosha yomim achrei haLeida as a din of chodesh sheyesh b'sakana, and Shabbat is hutra also for her, even though when she's giving birth, Shabbat is only the chuya.
Sounds right. Yeah. Sounds right. Yeah.
I mean, when you're allowed to be machmir on yourself, or on the kind of someone else, you shouldn't. In general.
Not the way just that's what you should do. A Baal Nefesh. Someone who's not usually a Baal Nefesh. Don't be a Baal Nefesh.
Be strict on yourself, yeah, but not when it's coming.
It shouldn't be your first.
Else.
It shouldn't be your first Baal Nefesh.
מה אני אעשה? זה מה שכתוב. I didn't make it up. Didn't make it up. Okay, so and I get all the way down to 20. Okay, fixing while saving is no problem. That means if by fishing the child out of the river, you're also going to catch some fish, no problem. Shechting for a choila.
The opposite.
That's if he did it already. No, you're for sure allowed to do it. Shabbos, if you did it and you happen to come up with a baby, but your intention was for the fish, then it's a machlekes. It was machlekes. I'm talking about. Yeah. That's Allah. Allah brings it. But I'm saying you're for sure allowed to do it if your kavanah is for the baby. That's not a question.
No, it's a mitzvah.
Yeah.
Not only a public sense.
Yeah.
What number are we on?
13.
13. Shechting for a choila. We do it, yes? Why? Why not feed him the vela?
So you become even more sick and you don't find out though.
One opinion, yes.
You become,
If you feed him the nevela, he'll be so upset he won't be able to eat it. He'll be disgusted by it.
נבלה זה אסור.
שלוש שבת גם אסור. הוא צריך בשר. הרופא אומר שהוא צריך בשר. So why should you shecht, which is chil Shabbos, feed him the nevela, which is only an iser of nevela? No, what else? We had a few reasons. No, give me some more reasons.
Question is why did we
The
not
question
just
is
give
why, if there's already readily available nevela.
Exactly.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
is this actual mutter meat?
What?
What's
What does that mean?
For this guy, well, I guess both of them are mutter because he needs to eat something.
I mean, you're starting to say something, but I'm not
Maybe
gonna.
after Shabbos, something like after Shabbos, or
One svara is that since Shabbos is hutra anyway, because you're going to have to cook it. So Shabbos is already hutra. Nevela is not hutra yet. So therefore we throw in an extra Shabbos thing instead of Shabbos is already hutra because you're going to have to cook whatever it is.
no, let's say it's cooked nevela.
Okay, cook nevela, that this answer would not allow according to this answer. It's only
You have to be
This answer,
According to this
nevela
answer,
would be
yeah.
better.
according to this answer. Yeah. According to this answer. Yeah.
and you're gonna have to cook something.
If you have to cook anyway, so then it's a question of cooking and shechting or just cooking. You may as well cook and shecht. Another
So
answer.
usually they don't say that. I mean, Marvin B. Sorry, usually.
No,
Oh,
but-
since you're gonna have to cook, so you might as well shut those.
Yeah, but the point is once it's Hutra, it's Hutra.
Interest that one why we have the Shiloh.
Because Nevela has not been Hutra yet. Understand? Nevela hasn't been Hutra yet. Shabbos is already Hutra. So therefore there's no Isser of Shabbos. So why do we push off Nevela, which is a new Isser that doesn't have to be pushed off? Shabbos has to be pushed off. So we're treating it like it's not Shabbos. So where do we get the idea of taking another Isser and saying it doesn't exist? When there's two Isurim, we have a choice to take away one or the other. Let's take away Nevela. It's less strict. But if we're anyway taking away Shabbos, so where do we get the right to take away another Isser? See what I'm saying?
Where do we get the right to also? We should check the animal in that case.
Yes.
We should check the Shabbos and the huh?
Exactly.
The Shabbos is up there, we should check.
Exactly.
It's not a Chil Shabbos.
Exactly.
It's actually nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. Now that doesn't mean that you can do it if you don't need to do it. That doesn't mean if you have meat that's already shechted, that's kosher, and you say, oh, it's already hutra. I may as well shecht again. Because that's not in any way contributing to his matzah. It has to be some way contributing.
What's the concept of minimize, if you can minimize without wasting time or whatever?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, you should do it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, because that is not going to in any way contribute. Doing it one way or the other is not going to contribute in any way to his illness. So therefore, we say do it in a way that does not detract.
Right, if he needs it within 5 minutes, so you're not allowed to go shut the cat.
He's talking about if you have branches with berries, you only need 2 berries. You can't take the branch that has 3 berries. It's your Mabbe B'Shiurim. It's Hutra, right? So what's the difference? 2 or 3 berries?
If someone cuts off a branch that has more berries than the next, he's doing more Isurim?
No, he's Mabbe B'Shiurim.
The concept is
It's the shear is bigger. The
That is
Isser
legible. Have as least branches as possible.
the Isser is the same.
The shear
It's shear. The shear of the Isser. Exactly. That's the machlokes for showing, by the way, if that's a deraisa derabah.
Where do we see that? Where's that concept? You marble the shear, but not the Isurim. Maybe here? No. In the shifting?
So would be better to check one big chicken instead of two small.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's for sure. One big chicken is better than 2
If
small
we eat
ones,
the
for sure.
2 chickens worth of meat.
Yeah, for sure.
You have a duty to mitigate. You have a duty to.
Anyway, your question is if it's Hutra anyway, so what's the difference?
That's what I'm saying.
Now what?
Since it's Sutra, you still have to be the night of Shira.
Why? If it's Hutra, what's the difference? Oh, it's Hutra.
You have 2 options. Why would you not think about it?
I'm saying if it's Sunday,
Right or left?
if it's Sunday, does it make a difference to take 3 or 2?
Your marble the Shirin that are your marble the kosher Shirin.
I'm just saying the act of cutting it. The act of cutting it is, after all, helping him in his illness. He needs 2 berries. The act of cutting it is helping him in his illness. So the fact that there's an extra berry there, if it's Hutra, why does it make a difference? It's a good question. I don't know.
You're not going to use the extra berry anyway, so you're not going to remove it.
Once it's cut off from the ground, it doesn't make a difference if you remove it or not. That makes absolutely no
I
difference.
thought also by removing the actual berry.
No.
Too.
The berry from a branch, once the branch is disconnected, doesn't make a difference. I mean, maybe it's muktzah. Maybe it's muktzah. But it's not an isser of toilish. You know what I'm saying? It's no isser of plucking it. Okay, so if there's 1 berry, whatever.
How many does it need? First, we need to know that.
I think A and C are the same here. I don't know why I wrote them both. I'm just going to take it away. If there's two, I'm just going to take away number one. If there's two berries on one branch versus two berries on two branches, obviously you take the 2 on 1. If there's 2 on 1 versus 3 on 1, and you only need 2, you have to take the one that's 2. Correct. Okay. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you not to tell you, to review.
You needed 2, but it's not 3 because did you realize? And the color is only 2. Will that be the third one? You need 2 or 3. It was left over.
It's kind of like
When it comes to shchita,
that's like the fish that came up with the.
but when it comes to shchita, we say that you are allowed to eat from the animal because you can't be marba b'shvila. You can't cook it,
Right.
and you can't eat from what you cooked because then you'll cook extra.
There's no cooking.
I understand, but I'm saying anything that you might add, you can't benefit from.
You're not adding.
No.
It's
No, but I'm saying-
berry is equivalent to a raw piece of meat.
No, but I'm saying no, because maybe he'll take the one with 3 to be able to eat it.
Well, I think he's saying if the only choice you had was.
Certainly, you can't say because it's not the program, you use 2 or 3 and use only 2 and have 1 left.
Oh, I see.
Right, that's the question.
Yeah, but there's a xera that you might take 3.
You'll have only one branch available that has 3 of them. You
In
only
general, not specifically. This is already done. Yeah, it's already done. I'm saying if you were allowed,
Oh, sorry.
if you
Wasn't it Carlos Water still here?
No, the table. No, no, no.
I think it's sorry.
if you were allowed to have the third, then in another case you might dafka take the third. You understand? In this case, it's already done. You're not gonna.
But that's what my point. It is already done.
But
there's-
in general, in a similar case, you might dafka take a third, and you know what I'm saying? You might take the branch with 3. When it comes to shechting, there's no option. There's an animal, you shecht it. When it comes to this, you might dafka take the branch that has 3 to be able to have the extra one.
But let us see 2 first. Probably needed 3. The golden 3, but you actually use only 2. You're allowed to use the first.
No,
For the same reason?
You
Same
cook
reason.
For you cook for the toilet. You ate from the plate, you have leftover on his plate.
can't eat.
Leftover, no extra cook.
Can't eat from it.
You can.
So this is different than shkita.
This is different than shchita. Because shchita is one act. Here, there's
Only
different
one
options.
extra. Cut 1 branch with 3, but the poly use only 2. And you have 1 great
I understand, but you didn't have to cut the one with 3. You could have cut one with
They
2.
said he needs 3, but he used
Yeah.
only 2 in
I
here.
understand, but in general, there could be a case that he said you need 2, and you'll take 3.
Yes, can you eat the leftover meat after shower?
After Shabbos, yes. And you don't have to wait b'chtei sheyasa.
When the guy got there.
How is
Yeah,
it? Wait, hang
you don't have to wait b'chtei sheyasa
But
because there
we
was no aver then.
When the guy got
That's the machlokes shonim. We pass in b'shalak.
How about the kid, what he said about use 1 large chicken instead of 2? So in that situation, use the 1 large chicken, he doesn't eat the whole chicken. Then can you eat from it? That's shkita.
Yeah, but the truth is, I don't know if there is a bigger isser to shech the larger chicken than the smaller chicken.
2 smaller chickens. That was the question. Better to do 1 large
I'm
chicken
saying,
or 2 small
you're saying,
chickens.
if he's going to shech the larger chicken,
Yeah.
what's the chashash? The chashash is that he's going to chef don't eat from it. Why? Because he might chef the large one for himself. There's no difference between chefing a larger and a small. See what I'm saying?
2 small. 1 large versus 2 small.
I understand. What happened? What's your question?
You said instead of if you had the same amount of chicken that he needed,
Yeah.
and you had a choice, you can chop 2 small chickens.
Yeah.
To give you the same volume of 1 large chicken.
You chef the one large.
chicken.
Yes. So what's the
So the
question?
question is, what if there was left over from that large chicken?
You can eat it. Why not?
Okay, so that's how is that different than the branches? I think that's
You
what.
can eat it uncooked. Not cooked.
Uncooked.
Uncooked.
No, I understand that.
If you want.
I understand. But with the branch situation, I think Ron
Because-
is trying to say that there was absolutely no kavanah, no intent, and it just he didn't need that third berry. He didn't need it. What is the status of that third berry? What you're saying is he's going to come to the possibly
If he
the
knows.
next time.
If he knows that he'll be able to eat the third berry, we might dafka take a branch that has a third berry, knowing that he'll be able to eat it. When it comes to the chicken, there is no isser to shech the bigger chicken. We're not talking about two chickens. We're talking about, we're not choshesh he's gonna shech an extra chicken for himself on Shabbos. From Jew. Maybe he'll shech the bigger chicken because he wants to have some of it. I don't believe there's a bigger isser to shech the bigger chicken.
Or a bigger cow. For that.
Or a bigger cow. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you have to take the smallest.
No, I don't think so.
And that's what we're trying to get at.
All right, my
Branch is
friends.
not taking the smallest. It's minimizing.
Bishalak, and we said it's machlokes between the Ra'ah and the Rashba. The Ra'ah says that once the guy cooks it on Shabbos, and he's allowed to, whether for a person who's deathly ill, chas shalom, or for a person who's seriously ill, so the laws of Bishalakim are suspended, and it's kosher even after Shabbos. And the Rashba says no, it becomes Bishalakim after Shabbos. That is the main halacha. Okay. We spoke a little bit about starting a treatment that will take several days. And the answer is that
You can't miss a day, you have to complete it.
no, I'm not talking about that. You're talking about a course of medication for a non-dangerously ill patient. I'm talking about starting a treatment plan for a person who is dangerously ill. Halacha says that if the treatment is going to last 8 days, we don't tell you wait till Sunday, and that way you'll only have to desecrate one Shabbos. We say start right away, and that way he'll get better 1 day earlier.
Maybe a second shot.
Which means that you'll have to be machal 2 Shabbos. Correct. That's correct.
By the way, didn't you find medicine actually a lot of stuff is like herbs and like food supplement?
What's your question?
It can be more limited to herbs.
Then what?
Herbs.
Why should herbs be more lenient?
Herbs, of course. Right? Maybe like a food supplement. Like food.
If it's food, it's food. If it's not, it's not.
If it's meant to be medicine, because a lot of person around the thing, if it's trying to heal something.
The herbs of those days were the medicines of those days. So unless it's a regular food that people eat, it's not more lenient.
Regular for the body, regular for the person himself. If it is like herb supplement. Nothing bad.
Supplement is not pashut.
Vitamins.
Supplement is not pashut that it's mutter. It beats like a medicine too. The Magen Avram holds that a healthy person can also not take medicine. If he wants it to act as a medicine, like a preventative medicine, to protect him from illness, according to Magen Avram, he can't take it. Thank you very much. Moshe says if he wants it to make up for deficiencies in his diet, so it's not like a medication, it's like a food, then it's okay. You could say the same thing if he wants it to just strengthen him generally, maybe it's not a medication. But if it's to prevent an illness, that's considered a medication.
There's people like very nervous, medication, herbs, that's what people will come.
They take what, sorry?
Some herbs to keep them calm, relax.
Yep.
The thing about doing the whole week, they're not taking Shabbos with it. It's not dangerous, it's going to be hyper, violent.
Violent is dangerous.
Usually they're just it's very serious. Calms them down. Usually they're just nervous attacks. So
It's a good question. Prozac, like Prozac,
I don't know.
Xanax. What are these things called? What are they?
There's herbal.
Antidepressants.
There's healthier ones than that.
Right.
That's real medicine.
Antidepressants.
No, antidepressants is what he's speaking of. There's natural stuff.
SSRI uptake inhibitors.
Right. It's an interesting question. Well, that does tie into what we are saying. Well, that does tie into what we said about a course. A person was on a course of medication. No?
I don't think one day is going to be. It's not like an antibiotic that you can take it for a certain amount of days. This type of stuff that'll stomach if you're taking it all week. I don't know how much.
Yeah, but this sort of stuff you don't need to take on Shabbos. You can take it before Shabbos. You can take it after Shabbos. It's Nishka Fairlech.
Right. I hear you.
Some people that have mental conditions still need to take their medicine. Meaning sometimes one day is harm them.
Right.
Sometimes one day it won't harm them. My mom was taking the medicine for many years, and she always skipped Shabbat, and actually helped her out tremendously with her system.
Interesting.
Out for a day.
That's interesting.
You know, Rabbi, I believe that. You know, when I was, I drink my Hadai, when I was smoking about 35 years ago, I was not smoking Shabbat. It wasn't the Shabbat, I couldn't stop. Shabbat saved me.
Nice.
If you're taking an acid, if you don't take it continuously, well, first of all, most antacids, they tell you not to take it on for a long term. But when you are taking it, if you don't take it, you're going to have acid reflux, which is also dangerous because eventually it affects your
esophagus.
Esophagus, and once that's gone, you're in the source, as they say in Chinese. But
What?
so it's and what do you call it? If you have acid reflux, by the way, it's very uncomfortable when it's happening. You can't lie down to sleep because when you lie down, the acid goes up into your throat. And
Cucumber.
Huh?
Cucumber.
You know.
Yeah.
And so how
This really
severe it is.
Yeah, I hear you. But
There's no clearness about what is really.
I don't want to give a clear psak because every situation is different. Moshe says if it's to make up for deficiencies in your diet,
That's supplements.
then it's okay because he considers that like a food.
But vitamins is not.
No, if it's to make up for, you're taking vitamins because there's not enough vitamins in your diet. You need certain vitamins.
I guess it's
like
like
a food.
anything. There's not enough in your diet.
No, but I'm saying,
So
but if it's not to
eat more on
treat,
Shabbat, eat something better on Shabbat.
I'm saying, but if it's not to treat a certain condition or to preempt a certain condition, but rather it's because you feel your diet is missing A, B, and C, then it's okay.
אז עבור הצלבת הזה כמו אוכל?
מה זה צרבת?
Yeah,
no.
stomach, to suggest. It's like a stomach.
No.
הצלבת כמו שהוא אומר, the heartburn is very bad.
It is very bad.
Yeah.
So can you mix it with water before Shabbos? Does it work?
When I used to take that stuff, I never
mixed it.
Well, it depends what you're taking. Some things will last a long time, and some things you have to take way in advance before you have the condition. I mean, before you start getting that feeling.
Right.
Other things you can take, like Tums or whatever it is, they say in an hour or something will work, but those
Right.
usually don't do much. And I never heard of anyone dissolving it.
Right.
Oh, there's one with the purple, with the purple.
Or Moshe was talking about
For
the
the
case of
heartburn,
a person
purple,
who doesn't take this vitamin.
box.
He's going to be.
Pepto-Bismol.
No, it's pepper-bismol is different.
No.
It's
So
another
why
one.
are we allowing someone to take something that's not
It's a purple.
Because he holds
bottle.
He's a healthy
and it's a
person
small pill. 15 minutes.
because he's
it
not
works
considering
right
it
away.
medicine.
And
If it's to make up for things you're missing in your diet, so you can eat the food by eating the food, you could eat it in a pill. He's considering it like a food.
You know that, for sure.
I mean, that's not what Xavier is.
Exactly. He is healthy. Why is he eating it? Because he didn't get it this way, he'll get it that way. So that's
Preventive medicine.
the Magen Avraham holds it's usher. Not everybody agrees with him. There's other achronim that are makel about it.
Yeah, use.
It sounds, I mean, I don't want to say this, but it sounds pretty. The person knows he's going to be by the Shabbos if he doesn't take his medicine.
No. I'm not talking about that.
It's an illness.
I'm not talking about in Besakana.
So why can't a person take the medicine?
I'm talking about in general. He's taking it because he doesn't want to get this. That. It's not that he's going to get choyle she'en Besakana.
No,
He's
let's say a
going
person has a slight cold, he knows in 3 days if he doesn't.
in general rule is that whenever you're allowed to take medicine for a condition that you have, you're allowed to take it to prevent that condition from happening. But I don't mean like in general from happening. I mean if you know that if you don't take this today, you're gonna become a choyle she'esh b'sakana or ein b'sakana, then you can take it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about in general. General, you take things because you want to prevent this and that. You have your checklist. Even if you're not paranoid, even if it's real, but if it's to prevent
Like vitamin
illness,
C, could be lacking vitamin C.
right?
Like fish oil,
Zinc. What's it for me? People take zinc for short-term.
or herbs.
I do want to mention also, since we're discussing all these shilas, which are difficult, that we should remember also that the Ktsaisa Shulchan brought in the opinion that says that maybe nowadays this whole Gzeira should not really apply because we don't really know how to make our own medicine. It's all made in the factory and it comes to us in these little bottles and even the pharmacist doesn't make it. So therefore, what's the Gzeira?
Einstein says. So is the Rav going to give an answer?
No. He brings that most Rishonim disagree and hold that Gzeira Chazal. Rishonim, it's more like Rishonim.
Oh, this even happened in the Zman of Rishonim?
No, they weren't talking about medicine. They were talking about other things, about clay shear and so on. If you know. Exactly. So Tosfos that we mentioned, Tosfos says that the reason people clap on Shabbos and Yom Tov is because we're not Bekim and Asiyas clay shear anymore. So clap on Shabbos and Yom Tov. He says we don't know how to make.
You can do it in Shinui, Rabbi, right?
You could do it with a Shinui. We don't know how to do it anymore. So but other Rishonim say no, it doesn't make a difference. Gzeira Chazal was a Gzeira, and it doesn't go away just because the details change. But I'm saying, because there is such a shita, he writes that you could be soymech with a sniff, with another sniff lamp. Understand? I'm not saying there isn't. I'm just saying just to bear it in mind. I'll give you an example. Yeah.
Since it's Darbanan, so if there's, if it was in Torah, it's like Sfeika, even one something.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, he's not considering a suffix. The Ikar Halacha is that the Gzeira still applies, but there is a shita. So that's Yachid, but it's a shita that together with something else, like we find sometimes you could be Soymech with something else. But I'm just saying, yeah. But I'm just saying, when it comes to painkillers, so there's an opinion that says that nowadays painkillers should not be considered like medicine. Did we mention this?
Yeah.
Opinion that says painkillers is not medicine anymore because people just take it very easily. People,
like
healthy
Advil,
people take
like
it.
Motrin,
Exactly.
Ibuprofen.
Healthy people take it, so it shouldn't be considered medicine. That's a big chiddush because the Be'er Moshe.
Who was he?
He was a Debreciner Rav. He was a Hungarian Pesach after the war in New York. He was a big person. He wrote a lot of his farm. So, you know what? There was somebody else who said it before him. There was somebody in America before the war. What was the name of the Rav in America before the war? for Moshe.
The second war? Second World War?
Yeah, before the Second World War. He was, no, before.
No, someone.
His name escapes me. Starts with an H.
Silver? Oh.
No,
He will find it.
his name escapes me. Starts with an H. Anyway, he was considered like the Poisek in America before the war. He said this also. Anyway, Lemaisa, but
I don't know.
no.
Not from Baltimore.
That's Rudderman.
Oh,
Rudderman.
I don't remember. Anyway, the Maisa, it's just that's an example where it's a chiddush to say that, but since we have the Tzisa Shulchan that says with another sniff you can be makel.
Isn't he recent?
Tzisa Shulchan was a Bavram Chaim now. He was a contemporary of the Chazon Ish. So there's the Lubavitcher Chassid. He wrote a lot about the Alter Rebbe. But he had a lot of psukim relating to the Alter Rebbe.
Based off Alter Rebbe?
A lot of them, yeah.
He read Pirish and Alter Rebbe.
Not a Pirush. No, he wrote a sefer, but set as far, but based on a lot of the Alter Rebbe. His shiurim, by the way, were not based on Alter Rebbe. They're more based on the Rambam and on the tradition they had in Eretz Yisrael at that time. But he's most famous for his shiurim. There's the shiurim of Chaim Dov, the shiurim of Chazon Ish. So, but they were contemporaries and they got along, by the way. They met, they discussed Torah.
Argued left and right.
Yeah, that's the way in Torah. Somebody just sent me an interesting video. Where Moshe Landau from Bnei Brak passed away, the Rav of Bnei Brak.
When?
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously.
So there's a video.
I'm a person. In the hot bar. How do you say that? I'm a person.
I don't know. There's a video of a Rav from Yerushalayim is speaking to Rav Steinman with different kashrus shaylas, and he mentions in the discussion that a lot of people that he knows don't need Rav Landau's hechsher. So Rav Steinman says, "What do you mean you don't need Rav Landau's hechsher? It's a very good hechsher. He's a very good person." Rav Steinman was very big in the Sheretz Yisrael hechsher, which was like the other hechsher in Bnei Brak that they started after Landau became the Rav. So what do you mean? Yeah, very big person. Anyway, so then the person goes on to other things, and Rav Steinman, stays on the topic. He says even the Chazon Ish respected him. So what do you mean Chazon Ish? The guy says Chazon Ish. How did he know of Landau? He says, yeah, the Chazon Ish knew him. He learned in Panovich, and he was 20 years old, and the Chazon Ish knew him, and he respected him. Very interesting. So, you don't respect every 20-year-old in yeshiva, but he was the son of the Rav of Bnei Brak at the time, so he had a
So
his father was Rabbi Yaakov Landau. He was the Rav of Bnei Brak in the time of Chazon Ish. He was the first Rav. So Chuban Chassid, yeah.
Is it based on this Rav, or he was mainly the kashrus?
Yeah, I don't know if he has a bezdin. He was in charge of the kashrus, the Eruvin, like all the official things in the city.
Oh, he's Rav of Bnei Brak now?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Son of another room?
Yeah. That's what they say. Okay. So, starting a treatment that will take several days. So we brought opinions that said, there was a Shlomo Kluger that said that once you start a treatment for Shabbos, you can continue on Shabbos. Because the whole Gzeira was not made in such a case In such a case, it's sure that everything was set up already before Shabbos, and you're not going to come to cook on Shabbos, and so on. This is a chiddush. Most other opinions disagreed with it. However, Moshe said if it's an ongoing treatment that without taking on Shabbos, it's an illness that can't be cured, it's going to bring great pain to the person, nervous breakdown, a place you could be makel. And Rav Shlomo Zalman says even if it's not going to be a nervous breakdown, just the fact that he can't get rid of the illness without taking on Shabbos is enough of a reason to be makel. Okay, let's talk about a sakonas aver. Sakonas aver means a person's limb is in danger. What's the halacha? Number 16.
You can do the Rabbanah, you can do the rice.
Correct.
Without a shoe.
Yeah, correct. No need for a shinui. You can do a Rabbanah. Ein boy sakana, which is defined as a person who is dangerously ill, which means that he's either bedridden or he has an illness that should make him bedridden, even if he's not actually lying in bed.
To set it the goal. To help him.
Exactly. The goy can do anything to help him. Even a daraisa. The Jew can do a darabana with a shinoi, and according to the Alter Rebbe, a big chiddush. With the shinoi, but even a deraisa with the shinoi.
Why didn't he say that in the above? Don't say where's more chomer.
Yeah, but sakana say you can do a darabanan without a shinoi. By in sakana, you have to do a shinoi, but with the shinoi you can do either deraisa or darabanan.
So he goes like that with the saver?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Shinoi of a deraisa, according to him, is more lenient than a regular straight out darabanan. It's a big chiddush. It is a darabanan, but because it's being done with a shinui, it's more lenient because you're not going to do it again in such an easy way.
Doing a darabanan straight out could get you to be regular to go.
Exactly. If you're doing it with the shinui, it's unusual. It's not the sort of
but
thing.
But they are at the same level, though. They're both darabanan. Shinui.
They're both darabanan, yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
What about taking? It is a good opinion to know about. I don't know if it's the Maisa.
Who argued? Why is it Maisa?
It's such a big chiddush. I don't know.
Al-Turabi seems to be perfectly happy with not who wants to. So.
Yeah.
If he's making over here, it's probably a good reason.
I mean, I've never had the occasion to ask an actual shayla about this, but
it wasn't.
I should.
Those who go acquired to
yeah, I think I asked him once. I don't think he was so happy about it. Just because it's a chiddush, that doesn't mean you can't. Whatever. I don't know. I have to ask him again and make sure. What about taking medicine?
Migraine is
yeah.
People saw that it was the next level. But you never.
Also, Miralago.
Shlomo Zalman holds it's in Masakona.
Miralago is to get medicine, right?
Because basically, a person who has a migraine can't function.
Needs to go to bed. Can't function.
Whether he's actually in bed or not, but he can't really function in a regular way.
Never actually had
Baruch Hashem. Neither have I, that I know of. Yeah. You got?
Mm-hmm. No,
you?
some people.
Some people. Yeah. Okay.
My wife, she was suffering from migraine.
Nice. Nice.
What about what's that illness that person doesn't have balance because of ears?
Vertigo.
People are in bed for like 2 weeks.
Right.
I mean, it's like a migraine. You just can't balance yourself. Everything hurts to look at.
Well, you can hurt yourself.
You
You're trying to
fall.
That's what's
fluid in the air.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's the Rosh Hashanah. We have a lot to do in a very short amount of time.
We do have a lot to do. So, he may take medicine in Basakana because even though it's a derabanan and it's without a shinoi, but the Alter Rebbe explains, Mechaber says it, the Alter Rebbe explains it, that the reason for the heter is because that's one thing that a goy cannot do. Other things we let a goy do it,
yes.
but the goy cannot swallow it for him. So we give him the heter. Examples, bedridden, high fever, migraine, asthma, diabetes, non-lethal heart condition, small child, yes? Small child, the needs of a small child, which we said there's different opinions about the age, or like the choyle she'en b'sakana.
I saw another halacha that if a child's used to sleeping with a nightlight, so you're allowed to tell the goy, and he would cry and be whatever, suffer, whatever, or anguish, but it's not on, so you're allowed to tell the goy.
Nice chiddush. Nice chiddush, yeah.
No, I thought it was a nice application. There's not many.
Nice application, yeah.
For kids, yes. For kids, we're allowed to do more than adults.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear, because that's the needs of a child.
It's not more than adults, it's exactly the adult.
No, but the kid, even though he's not apparently a choyle she'en b'sakana, we're treating him like he is. So that, in that
Not
sense,
more, the same amount.
in that sense,
If you have adult and kids, they don't want to sleep with the light at night. The adult, you tell him that's it. You cannot.
No.
yeah, but the child is not a choyle she'en b'sakana in an apparent way. The chiddush is that we're treating him like he is.
But
Exactly.
the child doesn't understand you. He's crying. But the adult, you give him a
That's what he's
kafah,
saying.
he's quiet.
But that's what he's saying.
What?
He's saying that a child is more prone to be in anguish.
That's
It's like a chola situation.
no.
Pulling out a tooth. If the
opposite. What does say?
We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Indeed. So pulling out a tooth, we said if the person is in great pain, so his whole body is weakened, then it can be done even if it's a d'oraisa. But it could be a d'rabbanan, it's a machlokes, because it's a mlach shesach legufa. So therefore, maybe even if it's not in great pain, so that depends. Nowadays, we have painkillers, so it's not really such a big deal to wait till after Shabbos.
What was the case of
A person who's in great pain is in such pain that he can't function, so then a goyish dentist would be allowed to pull out a tooth on Shabbos.
Even a Jew be able to do it b'shuma. No, it's not their bun. Sorry, their bun and b'shuma would be able to do.
It seems to me
But I don't know if I would advise getting a dentist to do a
Rabbi,
shini.
it seems to me that this pain factor is extremely subjective. Because what I'm understanding is that
I didn't say pain. That's the next case. Sar Gadol is the next case.
But in general pain,
Some people have a high tolerance and some people have a low tolerance.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
So that becomes a very subjective standard in terms of, where in the tooth situation where you're going to pull them out.
Well, the definition of not being able to function is an easier definition than just pain, because you see if they can function. They can just go around and live normal, have a normal day. That's easier to see. But you're right. Great pain, which is the next level, is something that is not so easy to define.
What I'm saying is that does that shift the standard into some of the higher or lower categories? Would you say that?
Want to go before they begin to bring the tool for me?
I'm not leaving. Chatunah, b'tesha v'chesed. Not leaving.
No, there's plenty of people.
Okay. I don't know.
It just seems
situational.
To me that,
Situational. We need a good Rav to be advised.
Which number is this one with the great pain?
That's the insert side. Great pain is 19. Alter Rebbe has a chiddush that a yid can do a drabanan with a shinui for great pain. No medicine. No medicine. Can't take, a person's in great pain can't take medicine. It's not a choyle she'en b'sakana. Choyle she'en b'sakana can take. If he's in pain to the extent that his whole body is weak, and he can take pain.
Even according to Alter Rebbe?
Yeah.
Even though he says a Jew can do a Rabbanan B'Shvei?
Yeah.
So a Goy can do, well, a Goy can for sure do a Rabbanan without B'Shvei.
That's the whole thing. Pain where he can't function.
Mixes choili.
Are we allowed to use the test for Rosna for God? Is it an open book test?
Open book test, yeah.
Can I have my sheet and my paper in front of me?
Yeah. But you pretty much have to answer on the spot. You know what I'm saying?
No. Oh, you can do a lot of this? I know, I understand.
Yeah, you got a half hour.
Yeah.
You're looking it up.
So, mixes choili, slight illness, toothache, sore throat, headache, cough, cold, stomachache. No medicine, a goy can do it rabbanan. That's the concept of shvus to shvus ayidei goy. And that is mutter even if the person is not in great pain, but just slight illness. Nichlish brahma minor pain, we did not give any heter for a goy or for a Jew. Taking medicine, Xera, we discussed. Why today we discussed. Sakana we discussed. Topical versus ingesting. Now, when it comes to a topical medication, so that a goy can put on a Jew, even if he's not in great pain, even if he just mixes choili. If it's not a pain, let's say a nasal spray. Person's not, he has a nasal drip, whatever, allergies, but he's not in great pain and he's not non-functional, but he doesn't have to do it himself because it's not something he has to swallow. So you can have a guy do it because that's a derabanan. By a guy, shvus to shvus.
So Rabbi, a Jew can do the another Jew to spray?
No, because that's one shvus. That's one shvus.
So if two Jew spray it and you have no goal, and you know, and it's coming.
The truth is that you did show me in the Alter Rebbe Shem Aleph. Yeah. No? Maybe you showed me in the Yaakov Yosef who brings the Alter Rebbe. Maybe. You showed me somebody who brings the Alter Rebbe in Shem Aleph who says actually, clearly I didn't remember it.
Oh, right.
But he says clearly that shvus to shvus is not just having a goy do a derabanan, but it's also a Jew doing a double derabanan. Like a Jew doing a derabanan with the sheep. That was a nice chiddush.
That was chazon. Whatever.
So it's nice, a nice chiddush, yeah.
So two Jew, they may be able to do that.
Maybe. יש מקום לומר.
יש הרבה לשמוח.
L'chura. Okay.
No, but there's no, over there it's not your tzara. It's not the other Jew's tzara. You know what I'm saying?
No.
In the Alter Rebbe's case where the Rebbe just brought, it's the Jew, that he needs that malach.
Why? I mean, it doesn't make a difference. You, somebody else. I mean, if it's mutter.
It's not. Awesome.
I'm saying if it's mutter for a Jew to do
it's him doing only one derabanan. One derabanan, it's him that needs it's him that needs the medicine, and he's doing the derabanan. He's
I understand.
Split derabanan.
I understand. The medicine, putting on medicine is a derabanan. Yes or no? Yes. Two people doing a malacha is a derabanan. So whenever two people put on medicine on anybody, whether on themselves or somebody else, it's a dal derabanan. Exactly. Or with the shinui.
So it's okay.
Yesh makom lomar.
Everybody said that's the actual halacha.
He passes
in this
that way.
case. Right?
He passes that way.
Yeah, and he brought the
Right.
from.
Right. I hear it. Okay. Now we said you could do refuah if it's not obvious. The example we gave is that people used to wash their eyes with wine. That was also medicinal, but that they used to do it also. Stop. Drink. Yeah.
Not what's the word?
Sting.
Sting. That's the word.
I don't know.
Alcohol behind?
I mean,
Most alcohol is first thing. Doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know exactly. Drinking alcohol, we said, also, if your intention is to soothe your throat or your tooth,
So you have to actually drink it, you can't spit it out.
exactly, can't spit it out.
Gargle it?
You could, no,
No,
can't even gargle it.
And you leave it in your mouth for a while? Without gargling?
drinks really slowly.
No, just leave it in your mouth. Before swallowing, leave it in your mouth for 10 minutes. Arak sometimes can help tremendously for 2 days.
And,
Why you cannot drink the alcohol?
Sorry?
You can
Can't.
you can
You
can't
can
use
drink
it
it,
as medicine.
even if your intention is to use it as medicine. But if you're just drinking it, then it's not.
Did people used to wash their faces with wine throughout the week? Why is that a normal thing to do?
It said that wine had some kind of a healing effect on the eyes.
That'd
That
be
was
worse.
emulated by someone called Kibalino.
דאמרינן לרחיצה בעלמא הוא דעבד. והעידנא שאין דרך לרחץ ביין also. In those days, they used to wash with wine.
Wash what?
They used to wash their faces with wine.
For what? How was it waste wine?
Red wine is good for
It
your
wasn't for
eyes.
refuah. It was regular.
It was hygiene. It was
Oh,
it was
hygiene.
a type of soap.
Okay.
I don't know.
That could
Maybe.
It's a
Was
compound
it cleansing
in the
agent?
grape that's good for the blood vessels of the eyes.
Now, if you have other pains, such as your knees or shoulders and that kind of stuff, and you drink on Shabbos something that soothes it.
As long as you swallow it.
A regular
Just
drink.
swallow it.
A regular drink.
Yeah, just a regular thing. If you
Well,
have
the whole
vodka
point
or
is
whatever you're
that
drinking.
any kind of food or drink you can eat, you can mask for medicine.
Yeah, if you think of it as a food.
ואפילו
Yes,
לישויס
that was
ואחר
the
כך
same
יבלע אסור. שומע?
No.
ואפילו לישויס ואחר כך יבלע אסור. He's talking about chometz, but it's the same idea.
Well, Clemens is not usually drink.
Apparently, some people would drink chometz. החוישש בשינוב לא יגמר בין חייס יבלע אבל
Drinks that they had.
but we're talking about 1 to 1,000 doesn't count.
Stuff that smells like
We
Some
said,
people drink vinegar.
no, but we said if it's all the community drink vinegar. One of them it doesn't count.
No. Muskin.
That's what we studied.
Oh.
I don't know.
You're not just being gargle much can drink them in regular time.
No, have to drink. Can't gargle.
When you drink, when you gargle, when you drink, gargle.
If you-
swallow it.
If you don't have any toothache and you just want to gargle it, then you can gargle it. If you have it, if it's for any of your food, it's also.
To drink it, yes.
Drink it, yes. Anything that's not obvious. We even said if you soak
You can hold it up before you swallow it.
If you have no
anything that makes it obvious that you're doing it to soothe is a problem.
I don't know why English most is obvious.
What
Okay,
kind
so
of-
you only look and see you swallow?
The PC swallow, they see you're not talking while it's in your mouth.
That's not the normal way of drinking. That's,
Unless you're a wine taster.
but then you're gonna spit it out.
Then you spit up.
They can spit it.
And that's
Wine
a
tasting
form
they
of,
spit out?
yeah.
Yeah, because they don't want to get drunk. Because if you're drunk, you can't tell.
Spitting out what? Oh, I always wondered how people go to these things. Absolutely drunk.
No, the real one is the professionals. The people who go for fun, they drink.
No, this place they have they have a once a year wine tasting.
No,
People
no,
go.
no. We're talking over Napa Valley and some last year.
Oh, they have like a bunch of wines.
You know, the
Yeah,
people
yeah,
drink it. People drink
It's
it.
drinking.
It's the professional tasters.
Not a sommelier.
And then they eat something.
Wouldn't have
Rinse
to,
them out,
wouldn't
so
have
you-
to test the drinking and swallowing? How does it go down the
No,
throat?
they swirl it around and all this.
They're that professional.
Yeah,
They know
yeah.
already how it's gonna be.
They have certain taste buds. that,
Chocolate notes, all the technical terms and all that.
So, you can't use mouthwash then, Shabbos morning?
Why not?
God bless.
Because you're not swallowing it, you're just swishing around.
Yeah, but that's not a refuah. That's to make your breath
They
clear.
do that because they have bad breath or whatever.
Okay, that's not a refuah. That's to make your breath smell nice.
Oh, okay.
That's like perfume. I mean, perfume has other issues, but I'm saying that's not a refuah.
Although if you have an infection in your mouth, they say mouthwash actually helps.
Okay, but because healthy people do it,
Then that's not a
it's okay.
problem, right? And you can gargle it and spit it out.
If you mix medicine with water before Shabbos, we said you're allowed to take it because it's not obvious.
Is that must come, is that agreed upon?
No.
Mixed medicine on Shabbos, medicine on Shabbos? Who disagrees?
I have to remember.
Who just on the spot?
Is that in the Alter Rebbe about mixing medicine before Shabbos?
It is. However, there are different opinions about why it's mutter. And I have
Which
to
number
remember
is it?
It doesn't
You
look.
remember which number it is?
It's not obvious.
Does the medicine have to be a certain percentage with the water? In other words, it can't be more than 50% or under 50%?
It should look like water. That's the bottom line. It should look like water. It shouldn't look like medicine. Salty water? If you can have vinegar, why can't you have salty water? To gargle it? No.
Yeah, to have like a little bit of pain in your teeth.
Lo chashev. Here it is. Shoyer Adam, 27 L'Alter Rebbe. Shoyer Adam kiloyer and rakin with slulin. Chav Zayin, Shin Chav Ches. A person may soak soft and clear collyrium on Friday and apply it to Zion Shabbos for therapeutic purposes. The rationale is that since our sages require the person to soak the collyrium on Friday, this serves as a reminder that it's forbidden to engage in therapeutic activities on Shabbos.
What was that? That was 37 or 27?
27.
27. Okay.
By soaking it, by mixing it with water before Shabbos, so that's going to act as a reminder that he shouldn't make medicine on Shabbos. It's like a hecker. And it doesn't look to any onlooker that he's doing any refuah because it looks like water. But there were some people who say something else here, which I don't remember what they say. Give me a second. Oh, so Moshe holds here. Shomeh? Moshe holds, couldn't remember what it was. Moshe holds that this is only applying to this sort of medication, which has to be in general mixed with water. So instead of mixing it with water on Shabbos, you're mixing it with water before Shabbos. So that's like your hecker. But if you stop mix a medicine that doesn't have to be mixed with water before Shabbos, but it is really a medicine, so that's just like making a shinui in taking medication. We don't find that you can just make a shinui in your medication and take it. Understand? It's a special thing. No. He's explaining Pshat out there, and the Mechaber, it's a Mechaber. Chaf Aleph. Chaf Aleph Mechaber. Sure, Adam Kilarin.
You mentioned that you can melt medicine before Shabbos in water.
So that's based on this Alter Rebbe, but he holds that it's only the sort of medicine that has to be mixed with water. And by doing it before Shabbos, it's like you started already before Shabbos, similar to what we said about starting a treatment. No, they don't. But not everybody agrees with this. The Minchas Yitzchak says, no, as long as you mix it with medicine before Shabbos, it's okay. Shevet HaLevi. Efshel HaKal. It seems like it's not so posh, but he is making. יכול להטריח אותך להביא?
אנשים מפה?
כן, בבקשה. It's okay with me.
We have enough guys, no?
אבל עכשיו כאן יושבים, אז יהיה ככה למשכן.
בוא נלך הרבי להתפלל שם, אם הם רוצים להתפלל שם, הם אמרו.
Okay.
בכנסת.
Okay, let's
אז
finish.
יבוא יותר טוב.
Let's finish and then we'll go to the shul. Okay. 25. Mesayeh means when there's something that a goy is allowed to do, the Jew is allowed to help him do it. The goy is doing something like a malacha d'oraisa. to help the Jew who is a chodesh and mesakana or what have you, the Jew can help the goy apply the medication, for example, because Messiah in Mamish, his assistance is not considered substantial. Continuing course of medication, we discussed that. Healthy people take medicine to prevent illness, we discussed that. Opening a blister.
Even as long as it's not Rabbanan Dorais, just Messiah. As long as his act.
As long as your Messiah is somebody who's doing something that's allowed.
Right.
If your Messiah is something.
No, I'm saying the Jew. The Jew can't, as long as the Messiah doesn't get together, it's Rabbanan or it's Dorais.
Well,
just
that's,
Messiah
no.
is Dorais or Rabbanan.
The guy is doing a Doraisa.
Right.
But because you're only Messiah, meaning to say he doesn't need your help. Your help is inconsequential. It's the sort of help that he doesn't need. The example we gave is you're opening and closing your eye, so the medication should go in well. Now, he could open and close it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not essential for what he's doing. That's called Messiah.
Or is it sick person?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you mean can others help? Is that your question?
I thought that was the Messiah. You're saying Messiah is the
When you
Chayla.
say it in the beginning, it sounded like that. But
No, I'm pretty sure it's the Chayla.
Oh, only the Chayla?
Pretty sure it's the Chayla, yeah.
Well, if Messiah in Bamamish, so why would it be an issue for someone else also?
So my understanding of it is,
The guy could take the left hand and hold it up. Said, I come and I help him. If Messiah in Bamamish,
my understanding of it is that since after all, what the patient is doing is helping his condition, opening and closing is helping the medicine go in, and he's only a Messiah. So the Chachamim were makel, and they let him do it. You understand? But for Stam, another guy to come in, like, what do you need it for? You know what I'm saying? He's not accomplishing anything. When the choyle is doing it, it's something that the goy, it makes it easier for the goy to do it. You know what I'm saying?
it'll make it easier for the guy to do it when he's having help.
Let me see.
If it's going to take too long, I'd rather just go on and figure this out. Do I have to get back to tomorrow?
One second, I'm not going to remember.
תבוא לכולל בבקשה. יש לנו בקריות. לא ביחד שלושה. בסדר?
Okay, the Alter Rebbe is very particular here in his language. And then he repeats it again later.
What's next?
And then he explains the reason. And even though Messiah to a malacha is generally asmud rabbanan,
Oh, there you go.
nevertheless, kan kevin shetir shvus amilanach l'sercha choyle, hu adin sheyesh nata shvus asiyu akiven sheyesh boi gam ken sercha choyle. Shal dekach master for Yosef betoy mimasha yisa nasa l'anoch levade. This is in Sif Chafal.
I mean, you can still say
No, because you can just get another guy to help the first guy. You understand? When it comes to a third party helping, why? Get another guy. When it comes to the choyle himself, opening and closing, the fact is, it's not so easy to open and close somebody else's eye. It's easier if the guy does it himself. So the chacham will make it. When it comes to a third party, like why? Why should they? Okay. Opening a blister, allowed or not? So it could be a daraisa if your intention. No, blister.
opening a blister.
Yeah, popping a blister.
To get the pus out.
Yeah. So we said if it's to open to get the liquid out and to get air in to dry it out, that's mamash and daraisa. If it's only to get the pus out and you don't care about the air going back in, blister is shchina. Shchin.
יש לך בורת
אתה
מים
אומר במצרים.
באחד מ10 מכות.
אוקיי.
The Rav say that together again?
The blaster, אוקיי.
Yeah.
בורת מים, בסדר.
Mapis Mursa. Mursa? יש כזה ביטוי?
בורת מים, אני יודע.
So, we said any Pesach, that's lahachnas or lahotzi, any opening that's to go in and out is an Issa D'Oraisa. If it's only to take out and not in, it's usually an Issa D'Rabbanan. But for the person who's in great pain, we allow it. It's a big chiddush. So Issa D'Rabbanan, which we allow for the person who's in great pain.
There's types of blisters that would feel much better popped.
Apparently.
And you're allowed to pop it in?
If you're in great pain and your intention is only to take out the pus, and you don't care about the air coming in to dry it out. All right, but you have to only do it if it's not going to cause bleeding. Dislocated limbs, the Alter Rebbe says not to pop back into place. The Mishnah Berurah holds if they're
It's going to
completely...
cause bleeding on the outside?
No.
If you say it's going to cause any type of bleeding on
Unless it's the blood that's in the blister, which is already disconnected from the circulatory system. But you cannot draw out any fresh blood. Dislocated limbs, Alter Rebbe says you're not allowed to pop back in. Alter Rebbe considers it boina, refuah. If it's sakana saver, it's mutter, but it seems like the Alter Rebbe didn't consider it sakana saver.
גם לילדים?
Maybe Ladim are better because of Chodesh and the sakana. I don't know.
Well, if it's boina.
We do find that it's boina even for children. It says when the baby is born, you're allowed to fix him up because it's part of the birthing process. But the next day already, you can't pop his limbs back into place. So, yeah. But Mishnah Berurah says if it's completely out of place, you're allowed because he does consider this a sakana saver. Get a goy. Goy can do it.
If you don't have a guard, then how to do it?
I don't know.
Your parents know how to do it?
I don't know.
אני שלחתי לך,
What was the other,
רוני.
Mishnah Berurah holds it's completely out of place, you're allowed to pop it back in. Even a Jew.
besides boina, what other sort?
Refuah. Okay, dislocate nails and cuticles. You can't, with cuticles, you can't take off at all. Nails, if they are majority off and it's bothering you, you're allowed to take it off via dime, not with the keli.
Careful not to bleed.
Shabbos, yeah, same thing. Careful not to bleed. Expressing breast milk is an Issa D'Oraisa into a container. Just to go the ibud is mutter, if to relieve her pain, if she's gorged. Expectoration. It's a good word, no? Expectoration. Expectorate is to throw up. It's to throw up. It's to throw up. You're not allowed to take medicine to make yourself throw up. You are allowed to make yourself throw up with your finger, but not medicine.
What if you took if you
If you took poison, yeah, definitely.
Then you can do it, right?
Definitely, no question. Hot water bottle in places where people use it only for food. Yeah. You can't do it like the Romans did it to be able to eat more food.
No binging.
No binging.
Binging or what do they call
That's even also during the week, Alter Rebbe says, because it's a waste of food. But for the purpose of
bulimia. That's bulimia.
How is that not a medical treatment?
What to do with your finger?
I mean, you have a situation.
I don't know if it's worse.
You're not taking anything.
You're causing a refuah without medicine. We do have that things that could be done with medicine are also even with your hands. Like what else do we have? What else? Yeah, and we had it also with this thing, the hot water bottle. It says if you're in a place where people use hot water bottle for heat, you can use it. But if it's a place that people only use it for pain, then you can't. Good question. It's a good question. I'm thinking that it has to do with the pain. Person who ate too much or is in pain, so they gave him a heter. Shouldn't have the pain on Shabbos.
Which number is the hot water bottle? I know the 45 talks about the hot cup.
Oh, where is it in the Alter Rebbe?
Yeah.
I actually don't think we learned it. I think
Okay.
it's way back in a previous Siman.
Right.
I have to find it. Saving Goyim, we discussed already. Okay, let's save Shabbos for tomorrow, my friends. It's getting late. It's been a pleasure.
Until make sure we have 10 people.
Tomorrow night we'll learn childbirth, or review childbirth, I should say, and then we'll just do general questions as a general review.
Thank you, Rebbe.
Pleasure. I think I sent it out already. Pretty sure. Wait, you saying in this or just in general?
In general for the test.
I'm pretty